Welcome to Deleted Saves. On this episode, Star Ocean, the second story R on PS5. I have begun to realize a simple truth. If you live long enough and play games long enough, eventually you will loop yourself. You will see the classics come back around in newer, sometimes bizarre or ugly forms. Sometimes you will have great success, and the new forms will outshine the originals. And then sometimes, much like the Spanish Inquisition nobody expected, in storms Japan and its attempts at honoring the originals, which is as much a mixed bag as its Western studio counterparts, except with more big eyes, honorable wise guys, towering mechs, and isekais. Let's take a look at one of my personal white whales of gaming as I give my thoughts on 2023's Star Ocean, the second story, R. Time to call me Ishmael, I guess. Long ago, I reviewed the original Star Ocean, the second story, from the PlayStation 1 days, a time when I was more into Japanese role-playing games, mostly because that's what we had on console. Unless I felt like breaking out a copy of Ultima or Might and Magic on the PC, as those two types of gaming were still worlds apart. And yes, I know damn well Fallout and Baldur's Gate were a thing by then I had the boxed copies. We all love JRPGs, don't get me wrong. I have a lot of fond memories of them. Hell, one need only look at the backlog of this show to see how many I've reviewed. And I loved Star Ocean. It was seemingly complex for 1999, at least in having party members who could only join based on what main character you were playing as, or the ability to craft items and upgrades, which compared to its contemporaries was a lot more than what they were offering in 1999. Hell, I even bought the Prima Complete Guide to the original game just to make sure I found all the secrets and the character recruit paths. Yes, the idea of complexity in gaming has evolved shockingly fast since 1999, but I'm going to go with what we had at the time, kids. But I never got to complete the original game due to either some sort of save file bug or critical malfunction of the disk I played on, and even getting a new copy did not cure the end game fail state that brought my progress to a screeching halt and made me not want to replay the entire game just to complete the last dungeon. So when developers Tri-Ace, Square Enix, and Gemdrops Incorporated, who I've never heard of, announced that they would be remaking Star Ocean, the second story, I figured now was my chance. Well, how did that work out for me? Well, I'm here to report to you that as far as remakes go, it's fine. The same way that Sam's Club Cola is fine if you are too poor to afford a bottle of Coca-Cola. It's got all the same characters, all the same choices, all the same menu options as the original. Except now all the backgrounds are fully rendered lush, modern 3D watercolor paintings, and your PS1 era sprites walk across them looking like the cast of Peanuts walking across the surface of the Last Supper. It's such an incongruous mixture, it's honestly jarring. It's certainly a fucking design choice, I'll say that. But not every design choice is a good one. To its credit, Star Ocean Dead by Dawn is an anime-ass anime game, and it really tries to upsell this idea in the remake. The characters are fully voiced, and many times now appear on screen as a static cartoon flapping their mouths and emoting in that very anime style like an old episode of Speed Racer. I wish I could say that was a compliment. There are a few new and utterly useless characters added to the mix that I never used in combat, but otherwise this game is a one-for-one remake of the game I played and remembered way the hell back in 1999, with all the goodness and goofiness and sometimes shittiness that I remember. Once again, you must choose from either characters Claude, a 19-year-old doofus from Earth who gets teleported to the planet of Expel in a Star Trek-style transporter accident as his family traversed the stars as part of the human empire, or Rena, a local girl and the only one who knows how mystic healing works because, spoilers, she's not actually from here. Your choice affects who you can recruit and what the private actions look like, those being bits of story game filler that might lead to more story, romances, or better battlefield friendships, but otherwise affect very little. The planet of Expel is seeing an increase in monster-related violence and natural disasters, and something called the Sorcery Globe might be to blame. Being JRPG heroes, only they can fix it. So they set about gathering a massive party of playable characters culled from every goddamn trope imaginable. From weirdos to stoic swordsmen, to magical tech girls, to kid geniuses, to Buddhist martial artists, apropos of not being on fucking Earth for that to being a thing. But hey, we're not here for a serious discussion or serious topics. We're here for silly shit. And the game delivers that in great steaming fistfuls. My favorite recruit is still cowardly piss boy Ashton, the dual-wielding swordsman who gets a pair of dragon heads stuck to him, now named Creepy and Weepy. And like the previous game, if you don't attend to some of the private actions fast, you'll lose out on characters too. Anyway, about halfway through the game, it is revealed that Expel just happens to be in the way of a planet called Energy Need, and is about to be ground under the boot heels of the 10 Wise Men. 10 massive assholes with teeth who want to enslave or destroy everything in existence. It's not quite clear, but as often happens in these sorts of games, the main bad guy is really into seeing everything burn. And I do mean everything. Well, Expel is destroyed and the whole party is transported to Energy Need as the only survivors, who must kill these 10 wise men, who have also now realized humans are a thing and that humans need to die, too. We find out Rena is a native of Energy Need, sent to Expel after a disaster that happened 75 million years in the game's past. Pretty good for a girl of only 17 to, in fact, be 75 million years old. Never ask a woman her age, of course. And only she and the party, in all the known universe, can stop these bad guys, who get no introduction, no build-up, no anything, other than that they are total shitbags who need killing. Which you do, one by one, except for a 3-on-1 fight, until Energy Need decides to sacrifice itself for its past sins, but in doing so will replace Expel as if it had never been destroyed, although it won't replace Claude's family and ship, who were killed in the conflagration. Too bad. And in the end, everything is set right. Nobody really learned anything, and Claude and Rena decide to become a couple and go off on adventures together elsewhere. Happily ever after. There are a few things in this game to point out, such as getting characters from other Star Ocean games to appear in battle as helper combatants, and a skill where the party and all of its fights can go on autopilot if they are high enough level, where the NPCs wipe out on-screen monsters automatically for all the experience and none of the use of resources, which basically means you are power leveling through the remainder of the game. And this is a skill you can get early on. Outside of boss fights in a few areas, I literally never had to play the game. I just walked from place to place and got heaps of experience for looking at the scenery, like a clicker game. Sure, I could have not done that and turned it off, but why do that? I'm a busy-ass adult who doesn't have time for bullshit anymore. Otherwise, if you play the original game, not much has changed in this remake. Reviews have been very mixed on this one. My favorite professional game outlet review has labeled it a messy and ridiculous yet compelling game, but public sentiment has been that it is dumbed down, a shell of its former self, or that the players didn't get it. And I guess that's fair. It's sitting at an 86 on Metacritic, and yeah, that's great for a JRPG in 2024, but who gives a fuck? To be honest, I fell off the JRPG train a long time ago, and I've only recently started to incorporate a few of them back into my gaming diet, so I have absolutely no idea what has gone on in the decade plus I was away. But from what I can see of the remakes and the direct to Nintendo Switch titles, Not a fucking thing has changed except for the fidelity is improved, so that's a thing, I suppose. Same tropes, same mechs, same character types, same bullshit outfits, and the same gravity-defying anime titties, which I guess is what we're all here for at the end of it all. But now that I have actually been able to complete the game in its fullness, what did I miss out on? Has my opinion on the original changed? In my review of the original Star Ocean, the second story, I ended that review with the following words. I can only assume Claude destroyed the space bad guys and went home, having casually ruined the pastoral lives of millions. Star Ocean, the second story, was a fun game overall, but predictable if you've played any other JRPG. Now I know Claude and Reyna did indeed destroy the space bad guys, but he could not go home as his ride had been annihilated, so he took up living on Expel with Reyna, obviously glossing over the fact that they are sitting on a weird clone world, its citizens none the wiser that they had in truth been atomized, and that two kids had to literally break the fabric of space, time, and fate to restore this world to a facsimile of itself, which is so goddamn creepy when you think about it. A literal zombie world where the dead have no idea only a small handful of the living walk among them, toiling their days in obscurity. Holy shit, that is a story worth telling and so much more interesting than what we got with Star Ocean this time it's personal. But instead, we have standard anime fare, which is like eating cotton candy and ice cream instead of actual steak, potatoes, and a salad meal. It's filling in time, but it will leave you hollow and slightly nauseated. I think in a lot of ways, Star Ocean, The Force Unleashed, is a lot of cut content and cut corners that got out into a remake of a game few, if any, were really clamoring for from 1999, which wasn't really noticed among the heavyweights that released alongside it that year. Think of it. Silent Hill, Soul Calibur, System Shock 2, Soul Reaver, Resident Evil 3, EverQuest, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, Planescape Torment. These were titles that have stuck with us in the psyche of gamers, a number of whom have received their own remakes and reimagining for good or for bad. But here's Poor Little Star Ocean, a kind of obscure title for a series that has mostly been overshadowed by other games in the Square Enix library. But good on them for wanting to redo this title and reintroduce the world to it. I just wish they hadn't done it in the way they did it. There were ways it could have been done better, guys. That's all there is to it. Do I feel that this remake diminishes the original in any way? No. If you can find a copy somewhere of the original for a reasonable price, absolutely play it and enjoy it. If you have no other choice, then pick up Star Ocean: The Second Story R. Just don't turn on the auto leveler and be ready to grind in repetitive combat scenarios full of flash and sparkle and enough exploding sprites to choke an entire herd of horses. I'm not mad about Star Ocean: Your Sister is a Werewolf and how it turned out. I'm not disappointed either. Nostalgia's long left me. I'm glad that after 25 years I was finally able to complete the damn thing and spackle up a hole in my gaming experience. I'm more empty about the experience than anything. It was an awful long wait for nothing to come of it. For me to be completely correct about how the original ended, and for nothing to be truly expanded upon or utilized better with all the spit and polish and hardware we have available now. But hey, I bought a copy and Square Enix got their money, so an even trade in the end. I guess I have indeed looped myself in the game world, when even the remakes are exactly the same as the originals, and I've been playing long enough to see both happen. I think I'll let this particular white whale go. It's earned its freedom. Thank you for listening. Deleted Saves would like to thank Brad, Keith Gasper, Orden Wells, and Mass Llama for being patrons of the show. If you would like to become a patron of the show, please go to patreon.com and check out Deleted Saves podcast. All donations go directly towards maintaining the show itself. Thank you.